clearly creators cannot solely rely on sponsored posts to be full-time. You always got to diversify that income, but sometimes it feels like you get stuck trying to find ways to diversify. So today we're going to talk about some unconventional or a little unique or different ways that we as creators can actually monetize working with brands. And we have Lindsey Gamble here, who is going to tell us all of the tea that we need to know. So Lindsey, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm honored. I've been enjoying the last couple of episodes of your show, so thanks so much for having me.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. For those who do not know about you or what you do just yet, can you kind of give us the rundown of who you are and what you do?
Lindsey Gamble. I work at Mavrck, which is an influencer marketing platform. I imagine creators that are listening probably have heard of it. But we work with brands, agencies. We have a platform where brands and agencies can use that for the influencer marketing program, so they can find creators, communicate with them, contract them, brief them, have them create content and report on that. And then another aspect is what we look at is our customer ops professional services team, which is kind of like our in-house agency. And that's the team that I sit on. And my role is focused on innovation. So as the Associate Director of Influencer Innovation, it's really keeping a pulse on the creator economy, figuring out what the platforms are doing, what creators are doing, and most importantly, how can brands and creators work together on new platforms, use cases, and everything else in between.
Yeah, I had said this to you when we had first talked. I just think it's so cool that you have this job that's actually totally based on what we're going to talk about today. Like, what are innovative ways that creators can work with brands? Because clearly creators aren't going anywhere. The creator economy is booming. There's so much happening. And so it makes sense that we're looking for other ways to kind of connect brands and creators versus just like, let's do a sponsored post once and then maybe we never talk again. So I think it's really cool that you have this job that's really going to help us creators make that happen.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. I think, just kind of coming up with creative ideas and innovative ways to bring the two sides together is something I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, definitely. So let's dive right into it because you gave me like a pretty good list of different ways that creators can monetize, and I love all of them. So I want to get through as many of them as possible. We'll start off simple with UGC. So this is something that you had told me you're starting to see like a lot more of the brands that you're working with wanting more of. So tell us a little bit about what that has looked like from your perspective.
Yeah, if without having the data, I would say UGC is probably one of the fastest ways or growing ways for brands and creators to work together. We think about the pandemic; that's when it's really started a lot. Where brands, everything was shut down. Brands weren't able to work with their in-house studios or agencies, and so when I was running campaigns during that time, we had a lot of brands that leaned into UGC and leaned into creators as basically being their like content engine. And so with, the popularity of TikTok, we're seeing the UGC creator even more where everyone in their bio has UGC creator. What's awesome about this is that it really allows everyone to be part of the creator economy. Traditionally, influencer marketing was really just about sponsored content. And that typically was, only for the bigger creators. And obviously that's changing today. And so now that there's a big demand for UGC, pretty much content that is authentic and relatable, where brands can repurpose on their website, their product pages, social, paid media, and even offline marketing. There's a big demand for it. And I love it that everyone can be part of it. It's not based on your follower count. It's really based on, can you take a great photo? Can you take a great video? Can you talk into the phone?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen UGC absolutely blowing up, and I love it for the same reasons. Like, it really is so cool that you don't have to have a certain follower count. And like you said, I think that is changing even with like sponsored stuff as time goes on. But there are still like a lot of companies that I see or like, on platforms that I see where it's like a minimum of 5,000 followers to apply to this campaign and things like that. So I love UGC, and it also lets creators who are maybe really talented, like behind the camera too, really shine, and maybe they don't want to always have their face on camera. I love that it just provides like more opportunity and more versatility, I guess. How are you seeing like, or I guess like, what are the brands that you're working with looking for most? Like, is it mostly like TikTok content, or are you still seeing a lot of photo as well?
Yeah, I would say both. I mean, because of most brands really focus on TikTok and short form video, I would say when I think of UGC, I think of TikTok now, but
Yeah,
photo is still powerful, especially when it comes to product shots. Because
yeah,
if you go to a brand's website and you see just the standard brand photo, it's probably not going to move you. But if you see a
yeah,
creator or someone that kind of looks like you, that's actually a human, not a brand, that can be really powerful. So I would say it's a little bit of everything. I think short form video is huge. So if you're a creator that can create short form video, whether it's kind of the talking head style or being able to show a how-to video or tutorial, you really have a leg up just because of where the demand is going. I would also
definitely.
say, like as a creator, you can get pretty creative with the type of content you can create. I think text UGC isn't as big, but if you're a great writer, you can pitch to a brand to write a blog post that aligns with what they're looking for their website, as opposed to them having to go to an
Yeah.
outsourcing agency.
Yeah, that's a really good point because I mean, I don't think most people, when they hear UGC, even think about like blog posts or copywriting or anything like that. But it's true, like we were saying, like when you're seeing a picture of a person and you're like, okay, I can, relate to that. Like, I want a recommendation versus just like seeing this brand tell me that they're the best. Like, I want to see someone outside the brand tell me that they're the best. And then I believe it a little bit more. And it's the same with like blog posts and things like that. And it's very interesting to me that more companies aren't starting to like outsource blog posts, for their own platforms, because it really does speak volumes to have someone be able to write paragraphs and paragraphs about why they love this product and who it's great for from an outside perspective, not just the brand saying it's great for everyone. Everyone will love it.
Yeah, yeah, and creators know best. When it comes to UGC, I would say like the CPG, CPG brands.
Yeah.
I say financial services is pretty big. I would say any vertical where like you can story tell, right? When you go on TikTok and you see someone kind of
Yes.
the talking head and kind of talk about the value prop and how to use the product. Um, that's a great area to be in as a UGC creator.
Yeah, and how are you seeing creators, I guess, connect with brands and make this happen? Like, how can a creator maybe pitch themselves for a UGC job? Like, what are the kind of things that could give them a leg up, I guess?
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything. Of course, there's like the platforms like a Mavrck, then there's like the UGC platforms that specialize in that. So you sign up for
Yeah.
those. But also just pitching yourself, reaching out to brands, whether it's through DM or LinkedIn is a huge opportunity. I get reached out to a lot of creators on LinkedIn. And for
Yeah.
the most part, I try to, connect with them in some type of capacity.
Right.
Sometimes just putting yourself out there, but reaching out to them somehow, sharing some of your work, maybe the brands you work with.
Yeah.
What's really great about that is like you don't necessarily need a media kit like you need with a follower account. Like you just need to show that hey, I can do this.
Mhm.
And pitching them your rates or whatever price point you want and kind of working it out there. Sometimes I think not just creators but just as humans we always wait for something to happen as opposed to reaching out directly. And so
Yep.
like it's a little bit of that hustle. Like you never know. All they can say is no, or we don't have budget, or we don't have the, we're not focused on that right now. You have to put yourself
Yeah.
in that position.
Yeah, it's something that I work with a lot of creators on, is just like that limiting belief of like, oh, well, if I reach out, like they're not going to answer or they're not
Yeah.
going to be interested. And so you just don't reach out. But like if you don't take those opportunities, that's a lot of shots that you're missing. So I think it's really important to hear that, coming from someone on the other side of the industry too. Now, another thing that you had mentioned to me that you're seeing a little bit more of, where creators can kind of work with brands in a different capacity, than just a sponsored post is research and insights, which that was when I was like, man, I never really thought about that. So can you kind of tell us a little bit more about what that looks like?
Yeah, that's one of the areas I'm most excited about. And whenever I talk to brands or just talk to creators, like how to, get to provide more value to brands, that's one of the first things I mention. So if you think about creators, it's like kind of the best of both worlds. They're experts in creating content and the platforms. They know what resonates. They know the trends of, an industry or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever vertical they focus on. Then the other aspect is that we're all consumers. We all buy stuff. We all make purchases. We all shop. And so a lot of brands, will survey the, just consumers, the average everyday people. And that's great. But when you, as a brand, when you work with creators, they can provide so many different insights. And so throughout my years at Mavrck, I've been, lucky to be able to work on some of those projects that fall within, this lane. Which is really cool. Is like sometimes it's as simple as just sending out a survey to creators about that industry. How does that brand's competitors connect with them? What can they do better to resonate with them? All the way up to one-on-one conversations and focus groups.
Yeah.
And it probably was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I worked with a beauty brand that was interested in kind of imagining or rebranding how
Mm.
they kind of show up to Gen Z. And Gen Z, um, people of color, so Black, Hispanic, just
Yeah.
typically different than what they were already marketing to. And so we ran a campaign where we sourced creators that fit their persona, and then had them do one-on-one conversations.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
had them do focus groups first of
Okay.
three and four to kind of get their insight on like other brands and like what connects best with them, knowing that they know culture. And then that brand took those insights, spent a couple of months, came back with a new branding, a new messaging, and a new approach. And then we went back to those creators and kind of shared that and got their feedback. And so now
Very
that
cool.
particular brand they built new messaging and positioning, through creators, which is really awesome. And so I think that's a huge opportunity for brands and creators. You're experts, share what you know. I think about
Yeah.
it from my standpoint, where like I work in influencer marketing and I write about it too, and why I'm talking to because I'm an
Yeah.
insider, and so it's no different than creators too. You have a lot of value in what you specialize in.
Yeah, and it's true. We talk with so many other people that are very similar to us as well. Like I think about, if I were to be helping with research for a iPhone editing app,
Yeah,
like I know what my whole audience is looking for because I have so many conversations with them. So it really is so much more valuable for a brand to reach out to a creator for, that kind of research or insight versus just like any person off the street kind of consumer. I know like if I post a beauty product or something, like I'll get messages back of people being like, I tried it and I hated it, or like, I love this, it's my favorite product, it does this and this. And so it really is interesting. We're able to gather so much insight, sometimes, not even on purpose, that we could relay to brands and actually, help them find a lot of value in that. Do you find with this kind of way of working with brands, it's mostly the brands reaching out to the creators, or is there an opportunity here for a creator to kind of pitch a brand for this kind of, I guess, collaboration?
Yeah, I think more times than not, it's brands reaching out to creators. I've been
Hmm.
fortunate to work as a kind of creator, right? So I've done some of these projects with Everyman Jack. So before they released a new beard cream, and then also for a link in bio to Unfold for Squarespace.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah,
in both those cases, they reached out, but there is the opportunity. Like I think when you work with a brand on sponsored content, you can pitch. That's the opportunity to pitch it. Where like, hey, like I would love to kind of give some feedback on,
yeah,
the brand, the product, or just the industry as a whole and share like, here's some things I can provide. But again, it's really brands, it's really making yourself known. Sometimes
yeah.
sometimes brands don't necessarily think they can work with creators like that because they might see it. Hey, consumer research is just for regular consumers and not necessarily thinking that, creators could be plugged into that same type of, channel.
Yeah. One thing I really love about this, like thinking about it from the perspective of like, I'm always telling creators that I work with, when they want to work with brands, they should be like planting seeds and planting seeds, and then hopefully, a partnership grows out of it. And this is a great way to do that. Like if you can connect with a brand and do a focus group with them, okay, maybe you get, a $25 Amazon gift card. Sure, it's like nothing crazy. Or sometimes you just do it for free to kind of help out the brand. I think it's a great way to get your foot in the door and show the brand, like, I'm not just here to like do a sponsored post with you. I'm genuinely interested in helping you grow as a brand and helping you reach your goals, and that speaks volumes, because so many creators out there right now are just like, I just want all the money that I can get. Like, let me do this, like get as many brand deals as possible. And, I think from a brand's perspective, finding a high quality creator who is genuinely interested in, like, even if I'm making a tiny, tiny bit of money or no money for my time just to help you out a couple times, like that really does say to the brand, like, if we're going to give someone money, it's probably going to be this person.
Yeah. And as a creator, you just kind of need to think about how can I provide the most value? Like, how can
Yes.
I, to a marketer, social media manager, influencer marketer, whatever their role is, how can I make their job easier? Um, and, if you're doing sponsored content, maybe you give them paid media usage rights for an extra fee. Maybe you
Hmm.
tack on, added value deliverables. And it also is a great opportunity to get FaceTime, right? When you're going through
Exactly.
email and DM, it's just a name, right? When you jump on a call and you talk, you give feedback and you have that honest conversation, that can open up a bigger opportunity. And, you want to make sure you're compensated for your work, but sometimes you plant those seeds where like, I'm sharing my insight, but it's not necessarily, a ton of work outside of a half hour call,
Right.
whatever it is. And for the most part, if you think about the creator economy, there's so much attention on it. Everyone wants to learn, and there's so many marketers that talk about the creator economy and what creators need, and that's great. But like, we want to hear from creators. Creators know
Right.
what they need. Creators they're on the ground, and so most marketers and brands would love that perspective. And it's just a matter of making it known that that's something they can tap into beyond just sponsor content.
Yeah. And I would say from a creator's perspective, like if you're a creator who's like, well, I want to do more of this, one thing that I always tell every company that I get into kind of like negotiations with is like, I'm not interested in working with a brand just like on a sponsored post, on a one-off post. Like I really want to be part of the team. And like I always try and say that because I want a brand to know, like, if there is an opportunity for, like a consulting kind of thing, or like, again, let me help you with research, like I want them to feel comfortable reaching out to me for those opportunities so we can just continuously be in contact. And I guess that does kind of like bring us into the next way of monetizing here, where it is creators being more part of the team, like being consultants at companies or even just being employees at these companies. So have you seen more of that recently?
Yeah, I feel like I wrote about this recently, and I write about it a lot. I feel like it's kind of the research and insights on steroids, right?
Right.
Creators have so much value. We see this a lot on TikTok where so many brands, from beauty brands to a Duracell, there's so many brands that are bringing on TikTok creators, full time or in a
Yeah.
consultant role, to produce content for their TikTok, or to actually be the talent in the TikTok, or to help them build that. Because like a platform like TikTok, it's different than Instagram, where like, on Instagram, some of the biggest accounts are brands, right? Pretty much if you can take a great picture
Yeah.
release, that's what it was. Where TikTok, there's some brands that have big follower accounts, but it's really the creators, because they know how it works. It works differently than traditional social media
Yeah.
platform. And so that's why we're seeing that. There's a great article in, I think, the New York Times, where, brands are tapping, college students to be interns and, own
Yeah.
their TikTok account. It's similar to like consumer research, where like creators just have so many skills. And, because they're creating content, they're negotiating brand deals, they're figuring out how to connect with audiences. They're doing something that, most employees don't have the skill set for.
Right.
And I think about myself. I think, because I'm good at what I do as a marketer, is because I'm a creator at heart. I think like a creator. When I write my
Exactly.
newsletter, I think about, all the things that a creator would do. And then it allows you to also put yourself in the shoes of a creator, which is really important. I'm really excited about this trend. If I was hiring, I would look for someone that is a creator because there's a lot of
Right.
value into it. I also think, where we are in the economy, where like you really have to be, gritty and really have to kind of be able to work with change. Who better
Yeah.
than creators that are having to deal with algorithms changing, having to figure out when their next invoice is coming in. And
Hmm.
so if I was hiring someone, I would look for a creator because I know that they're going to find ways to adapt. They're going to be able to be
We're
innovative.
scrappy.
They're going to bring fresh ideas.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is something that I've actually been trying to do a lot more of because I mean obviously like love working with brands on sponsored content, but I think there's also like this added pressure of working on sponsored content of performance and all of that kind of stuff and some of that makes me fall out of love with what I do at times because
Mm,
it's like there's so much extra pressure
it's
on
a
it. You
lot.
can't just create. And so I love the idea of being able to use my knowledge in a way that's like a little less pressure. And so this is something I've actually been trying to do a lot of. I've been working with a company who's building like this back end kind of like platform to help creators manage their invoices and all their pitches and kind of just like an organizational system for creators. And the way that they first approached me was, we would love for you to do sponsored content. And I was like, cool, I would love to. But also, like, what you guys are building is awesome. And like, you're
Yeah.
a startup, you probably need some help. And so we've been, working together for probably 4 or 5 months now. And I've built, like guides for them. I've
It's
helped them with
awesome.
the copy on their website. Like I've done so many like little jobs like that, but it's been a great way for me to monetize. But it also has nothing to do with me posting on Instagram or TikTok. So it's a cool way for people to kind of again be like more part of the team and really help build something, which I think is just so rewarding in and of itself.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. If you can integrate yourself into a business in many ways and make yourself more, I guess, sticky,
Yeah.
when budgets cuts happen, like they're going to see you much more value than the piece of content. And so, uh, you
Right.
know, you know, figure out how you can contribute. It's also great for creators that deal with burnout, like
Yep.
there's a lot of burnout there, like having to be scrappy and find, sponsored content and, that could be hit or miss depending on the month and the time of it. Um, you
Exactly.
know, joining the company for a little bit could be really great to, get some funds in on a consistent basis to learn. I think there's an opportunity if you want to build your own business. You go to a big brand, you'll learn so much. You'll be able to learn how a real business is built and the
Right.
nuances. And then you can take those learnings and use that for your future business. So, um, I think we're going to see more of that, especially when it comes to creative burnout and like just you know, creators want to build their own business and like
Yeah.
them looking at that as like a little short period of time to learn, and kind of grow and then get everything they need to, use for their full-time creative career or do it at the same time. Just,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It opens up so many doors when you do have the knowledge of like seeing how things run, in the back end of a business, especially with startups because they're figuring everything out like
yeah.
all at the same time.
Yeah.
And so you're learning again, like you're right on the ground with them, like really trying to figure everything out. So I think it's a cool way to kind of get get the knowledge, but also like you're monetizing. And again, you're making a really good point saying that like when there are budget cuts now, like it's not just, oh man, we can't afford to do a sponsored post with you this month. It's like, well, like we really need your insight to continue to build. And so it's more difficult, I guess, for them to say like, sorry, we can't pay you this month. We'll
Yeah.
talk to you when we have money. So it's almost like a little bit of job security for a creator too.
The knowledge that, especially if you go work at an influencer marketing platform, like even if your goal is just to do brand deals, if you go work at an agency that does influencer marketing or work at a platform, you'll learn so much. A lot of the stuff I learned during as a marketer, I use when I'm working with brands,
Right.
which is really helpful. And I think too, especially in sponsor content or creator and brand collaborations, you learn how things work. Often we see sometimes creators go to Twitter and, put brands on blast about, hey,
Yeah,
they're $1 billion company, but they're not offering anything. There's so many things that tap into budgets and what they can offer and everything else. And so it's a great opportunity to kind of learn, how things work that can help you with your own business, but also have understanding of the different components and parties of the creator economy.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I actually did exactly that. Like before I was coaching creators, I was doing campaign management for an energy drink company, and I learned a lot. I was a crash course, and oh my gosh, man, I have been so wrong about so many things.
Yeah.
And so again, like if I didn't have that experience, I would not know nearly as much as I know today. That's for sure. Yeah, so one other thing that we had talked about too, as another way that is a little pretty innovative for creators to monetize, is this idea of like creator storefronts. So tell us a little bit about that, because I think this is one is really cool.
Yeah, this is gaining a lot of traction, but still a lot of brands aren't doing it. And so the way I look at creator storefronts is, if you go to a website, how you can kind of shop by different seasons, but it's really being able to shop by the creator. And
Yeah.
so brands like West Elm, Instacart, Everyman Jack, I actually have my own creator storefront, which is cool.
Oh, that's really cool.
Um, and so there's a lot of brands that have them out there. It's just hard to find sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you go to those websites, you can actually you get curated products. And so you can go to a creator that's typically like an ambassador or a long-term
Yeah.
partner, and they'll, under their profile or whatever, in a little bio or handles, they'll have their favorite products. And, it's a curated, collection of products, which is really
Yeah.
cool. If you think about influencer marketing and why we like influencers, we want recommendations. And so that's just the extension of leveraging the creator's POV and their strong voice and social proof. And so, instead of going to shop by, jackets or whatever it is, part of
Right.
someone's fall line, it can be, I'm shopping by, creator one or whatever it is. And if you
Yeah.
like that creator, you most likely will purchase something, but also it takes out the need to have to figure out what you want.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like if especially with fashion, like if you have someone who has a very specific sense of style that you really love, you're probably gonna love that all of their recommendations are laid out versus you having to look through, 20 pages of t-shirts. You could just see
Yeah.
the ones that you would like because that creator posted them right there.
Yeah.
With this kind of setup, do you see that creators like ever, I guess, how do they monetize it? Like, do creators
Yeah.
get affiliate commissions
That's
or?
a great question. I think sometimes it's a little bit of everything. So the benefit for a this benefits to both parties. For creators, you get exposure to a much bigger audience.
Very true.
If you're on a page of a big brand, like chances are someone's coming across you that you may have not reached before. And if
Yeah.
you have a link out and handle, that could be great traffic or more followers. Um, so there's that aspect. A lot of these type of creative storefronts have a affiliate commission portion
Yeah.
where if someone buys a product from your page, you get a kickback. And again, it's better than the traditional affiliate model because, uh, brands are probably having millions and millions of hits. And ideally, if
Yeah.
they set it up right, and if you promote it as a creator too, you promote your page, you can earn affiliate stuff. And when people go to brand websites, they're already in shopping mode. So you don't have to convince them that they need to buy something.
Very
They're
true.
already there. So it's just a matter of you having the collection or products that they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's a good point.
yeah, yeah. So there's that way. Some cases, the creators aren't getting paid for, which I think, it's up to,
Yeah.
it's not exposure, but it's a great, addition to, sponsored content. And a lot of times it's part
Right.
of an ambassador program. So you are getting, some type of payment or some type of value out of it besides just being on the website.
Yeah, and I mean, for something like that, like I'm all about like don't do anything for free. Like
Yeah.
make sure you're gonna get paid. But I feel like with something like that, if a brand is just going to be like, hey, can you put this collection? Pick your favorite
Yeah.
pieces, and like we'll put your handle up there. Like it's not like it's actually taking much time and
No.
energy from you. So like, why would you not? I think in those situations, if you're not getting paid, whatever, fine. Like, it's not actually taking that much work from you. But I think it could be really helpful for brands too, to almost have this like kind of, I guess, like validation from that creator being like, I shop this brand.
Yeah.
These are my favorite products. Like, I have these at home. Like, I use them. I love them. And so like that for a brand, I think could be very helpful too, to give them a little leg up with reaching customers and building trust, I guess, with their
Yeah.
customers as well.
I mean, if you have a storefront on a brand's page, like you're very integrated in that brand.
Right.
For the brand, it's like I said before, being able to continue to have social proof through creators, but also totally forgot what I was going to
say. I do this all the time. I'm just like,
oh
where
my
was I
God.
even going?
How do you want me to start it?
Just you can go.
And so on the brand side, it's like PR for the creator, right? And so more times than not, they're going to share out that product page beyond campaign deliverables, because it's great for them. Like if you're on Nike's,
cool.
storefront, like that's probably, you can take that and pitch it to brands like, hey, I work with this brand. I have my own storefront. Like, if this brand's saying that, my recommendations and curation is valuable, like you should think the same thing.
Right. Yeah, it's very mutually beneficial. Great for the brand, but also like kind of gives you like some street cred, I guess, as a creator. Like, hey, look at the screenshot. My face on Nike's website. Like that says a lot. That Nike is endorsing you, So I love that. I think this is a really cool way to kind of like work with brands. And again, even if you're not getting paid, you're getting your foot in the door. Or it could be an extension of what you're already working on. So I think personally, like when it would come to making this happen, I think it's really about, again, like continuing to plant those seeds and say like, this is also an option, introducing it to the brand as an option. And maybe it's something they've never heard of before. And they're like, cool. Yeah. Like we would love to do this with you. And like, you could be the first creator that they even do that with. So this is another one of those things when I think of like creators in brands, like when you're working together, it's a 50-50 partnership. So many creators are afraid to offer their ideas or like, content concepts because they're like, oh, well, the brand wants this, like you have to use your expertise and say like, but what about this? Or like, what if we were to try and do this? Like brands might not even know that the things you're suggesting are options, and it could be something that completely, blows up their business or does really, really well for them. And they're going to be so, appreciative that you actually were, confident enough, I guess, to kind of give your ideas. So I think that's a huge lesson for creators to learn is just like, if you've got ideas, you should always say them and like, just see what happens. Like we were saying before, the worst thing that happens is a brand says no. And then you're like, cool, we'll just do what we're going to do anyway. Like we're back to square one.
And a lot of brands want to be, the first to do something. They want to, everyone's doing the traditional influencer marketing campaigns. They want to take their programs to the next level. And as a marketer, we can pitch things as much as possible, but ultimately it comes down to the creators. So if you're on a brand side and you're hearing from creators that, they're pitching the similar ideas and you're like, all right, there's something there. Like if creators are pitching, they're either doing it with other brands or there's value there somewhere. Let's test it out and experiment with it.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's just so cool that we have the opportunity as creators to like be able to share ideas with big companies that can make big impacts. Even though we feel so small, like we're just like one random person out here, but we really do have, the ability to make big impact. We just have to be confident enough to share our ideas. I love these options. I think these were 4 really, really cool ways that creators can actually monetize with brands, get their foot in the door, do sponsored posts on top of it all. Sure, go ahead. But I think these are really cool ways to really, show the brands that you're invested in them and that you're loyal to them and that you're actually, in it for the same reasons that they are. So Thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing all of this information. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is awesome. I always love the opportunity to talk about innovation and just new ideas, and love the chance to help out creators and share my knowledge from what I've been able to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. We definitely appreciate when people on the other side
Yeah.
are, open to coming and sharing the knowledge with us, because I think it's really hard for creators to kind of like get into the minds of the agencies or the people at platforms. It feels very like a gatekeeper situation sometimes. So definitely appreciate your time today and your expertise. For anyone listening, I hope that you guys are inspired by these different ideas. And if you have any questions, I'm sure Lindsey's inbox is always open. Hit him up on LinkedIn.
Of course. And like I said before, I try to get back to people. So say hi if you work on any campaigns at Mavrck. Would love feedback, but I'm here to be a resource. And thank you again.